Mic lock. Finish record. Mic lock button is on. Double tap to lock mic.
Hi folks. This is a top 10 music video. Top 10 things that I'd recommend, bands that I enjoy listening to. At number 10 is Gentle Giant. Without doubt, I've got to put them on my list somewhere. Fantastic band. You focus on the instruments that each person in the band is doing. That's at number 10. Fantastic band. John Weathers' vocals are freaking amazing. I've got to add. You focus on everything that's in the band. They're a band that also makes you want to pick up an instrument, not just, it's one of those bands that turn you to want to play drums or trumpet or guitar or violin or bass, whatever. At number 9 is Focus. Now, again, I've got to stick another prog rock band on the list. I think they're very good, very theatrical. Theatrical and rock kind of goes really together. Again, you're focusing on the instruments, but you're also focusing on the place that they're trying to take you and where they're focusing in on. A lot of bands were focusing in on that kind of trying to take you from somewhere and put you into somewhere else, and that's kind of very difficult to do musically. It's like classical and rock combined. I think Focus were the first band to do yodeling in rock music. I think they're the only band that can get away with it as well, and fantastic guitar playing. Just everything from that band, it just keeps on giving. At number 8, I'm going to stick the Moody Blues, because they were a band that I didn't really enjoy when I first listened. But oh my gosh, the way, again, this is another band that takes you to another place and another dimension. And they did it pretty freaking well on stage. Nights in White Satin, Tuesday Afternoon, Rock and Roll, all these songs that just kept on giving, they used the mellotron to take orchestras into pockets, but they were very good. They didn't lean on the technology they were using. They lent more on the ideas and the mind expanding ideas that they had, and they weren't trying to be what the Beatles were or what anybody was doing. They tried to go their own way, and they tried to change direction, and you could tell that they were doing that. And one of their most amazing albums is The Lost Chord. I think it's a fantastic album. I'll probably put that on, what albums I recommend or what albums that you should be listening to, but definitely give them a listen, give them a try. Moody Blues. Number 7 on the list has got to be Led Zeppelin. Where would they be on the, is just absolutely fantastic band. You can tell they've got all different, you can hear they come from all different musical backgrounds. But oh my gosh, they invented rock as we know it today. It wasn't like rock music didn't just, it came before Led Zeppelin, but I think Led Zeppelin kind of took it and, I think Jimmy Page wanted to reinvent the blues in a way. I mean, his guitar playing is fantastic. Robert Plant's singing is amazing. Not out of this world, but he's amazing. Janis Joplin, she's out of this world. But, so yeah, that's Led Zeppelin, isn't it? In a nutshell. Number 6 then, as we get higher up the list. And I'd have to say that I'm going to stick the Yardbirds on the list. So we've already talked about Led Zeppelin, and I think, you know, the Yardbirds were also just as important at putting blues on the map as putting rock on the map. And it's kind of like the Yardbirds did like other stuff, I think. You know, they had these anthems, but they were you could tell the group was trying to go different directions. I mean, they had Eric Clapton, and he went in with Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker, formed Cream. And, you know, what amazing stuff, like, it was an amazing band. But it wasn't till Led Zeppelin we were going to get an amazing, you know, this amazing sound. So, yeah. At number 5, I've got to stick Jethro Tull on the list. So these have all been rock bands, haven't they? I just got to stick them on the list. When I saw them live, I mean, this is a band that you know, they're the granddaddies of rock, but they can freaking play live, and they're still freaking good. You know, okay, Ian Anderson's voice is going still, but man, they can freaking play. He can still do flute solos. He can still do little anecdotes, and he can still. It's like a band that just, when I saw them live, they just blew me away. At Maryport Blues Festival was where I first saw them. And then I saw Ian Anderson again. And it's just, if you're into organs, guitars, noodly solos, all that kind of thing, little anecdotes in between songs, that's the stuff. My favourite album they did was Songs from the Wood. Favourite album they did. It's a brilliant album. They also did, I mean, Jethro Tull is the only band that can do sort of any sort of event, and just, you know, they did a really good musical opera type thing, Thick as a Brick, and I'd love Thick as a Brick to be done as a film, or as a play or something. I think they did. I think it was supposed to be written, but I'd love to see like a prequel or a sequel, whatever, to Thick as a Brick. Number 4, as we get up the list, is Sabbath. Now, I spoke about Jethro Tull. Did you know that Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull? Yeah, old Sabbath, really. Oh, what a band. What a band. 4 guys that you can just mention, roll off the tongue: Ozzy Osbourne, Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and Bill Ward, and they're a freaking great group. Needless to be said, you know, their early stuff was really good. The only problem with Sabbath was they tried to be like the Beatles a little bit, you know, but yeah, they kind of the gods of metal. I think if Tony Iommi hadn't broken his fingers, he'd still be a freaking good guitar player. But it was his style of playing, you know? It's one of those things like, it's nothing you could go back and reinvent, you know? At number 3 is gotta be Grand Funk Railroad. I've got to put them in the list. They are America's answer to Cream, but they're a lot wilder. You know, it's like blues and rock, but it's more jazzy. They stick a lot of chords in there. How they do it, how they do the guitar solos, a lot of call and response. The lead singer's got this nice soft vocal. It's more tuneful, but they're a band that knows how to blow you away. And I'd say they invented metal. Definitely. At number 2, I'm going to stick Death Grips in my list. You know, high up the list. is Death Grips, because like even now the music never changes. You know, they've written music that's 5 years ahead of its time and never changes. And so it shouldn't. You know, it should always be. It's one of those things where you can go back and go, "Whoa, why didn't I hear it then?" And if I heard it then, would it still freaking blow my mind? You know, I think Death Grips had a little bit of limelight in the mainstream, but when they went sort of you know, they had the avant-garde sounds, but they managed to keep you on that road. They knew that where they were going with each album, you know. And it wasn't just one genre, you know. It wasn't just something for the hip-hop fans. It wasn't just something for the techno fans, for the rock fans. I think that's what their idea was. It was kind of, whatever music the kids will be into, they hear our music, they'll be into it. And that's what, you know, what Death Grips is. And I think kind of they show no mercy by their sounds. And, you know, I mean, the Money Store was kind of a bit of a taster. It was like a dip into the water. It was it was introducing you, but everything after then has been twists and turns, and you know, even Stefan Burnett tries to, you know, the lyrics just keep on coming as well, just fantastic, and everything they do is new and fresh, and it's out of the box, and it's not trying to take you back to the Money Store or anything. It's like the Money Store was their chance in the spotlight, and now they don't need that chance anymore. And they've proved that. You know, they've proved their point. And they're a band that knows how to, they screw their fans up a little bit. But if you're a fan of Death Grips, they're not really a band that you should be going to see live. They're a band that you should be, you know. I mean, people have seen them live, but if you have seen them live, then you obviously weren't there. You were obviously at another show. You probably weren't at a Death Grips show. But anyway, right, number one. I really wanted to give this band kind of a lot of credibility and leave them to number one because, so I kind of wanted to leave Pendulum to the very top of my list because I love Pendulum. But I prefer Rob Squire, what he's doing on his own. And again, I think the band have had to change. You know, it's like drum and bass has kind of gone dead to the water. It's something else that the kids are listening to. And it's really, really hard to chase that music. It's really hard to know what the kids are listening to these days. I could have picked hundreds of bands to go into the number one slot. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this list, and I'll do another one some other time. Okay, bye.
Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording.